Hello, Andy. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
I am so excited too. This is going to be a really fun conversation. I love talking to podcasters, especially other people that help podcasters. So this is going to be fun.
I know. Well, and you know what? The fun backstory about, you falling into my world and me reaching out and wanting to chat with you is, first of all, I am almost to my third trimester of pregnancy with my second kid. And I'm like, I can't do the social media thing. And so I've been like dabbling in Pinterest. So I've been talking to my audience about Pinteresting for podcasters. And then one of my clients was like, have you checked out Andi? She's all about this. Like, you need to get to know her. And immediately I was like, well, we need to have a conversation. I want to know all the things. So I'm so excited. So tell me, why Pinterest? Why Pinterest for podcast growth specifically? Like, how did you fall into that?
Totally. Okay. So why Pinterest is honestly because it is easier, in my opinion, at least, because I don't have to show up every day. So like from like a makes my life easier standpoint, I can batch like over Christmas or before Christmas. I think I batched 4 weeks worth of pins and had them all pinned out. And I didn't have to do any marketing during like the week leading up to Christmas, the week of Christmas, and the week after Christmas. Like I was done. Like I didn't have to do anything. It was glorious. And so like, there's that aspect of it that's really nice. The other aspect that's really nice, especially for podcasters, is Pinterest just rewards podcasters because most podcasters, I will say rewards most podcasters. Because Pinterest is really good for evergreen. So if you have stuff that's going to be relevant 6 months from now, perfect, because Pinterest it's kind of a snowball effect. So you'll put pins out today. Like I have a pin go out every day. The pin that went out today is not going to like go viral tomorrow, but it's going to stay relevant, and Pinterest is going to keep showing it to people for the next year.
Okay.
Like it's not even like for the next week. Like I have pins that I posted last year, more than a year ago, that are still bringing me new leads. Like it's not, so it's definitely not a viral thing. Like you're not going to go viral on Pinterest, but it is, the longevity of Pinterest is just amazing. And then the other thing about Pinterest that's really nice compared to other social media is that people that use Pinterest are there to take action. They're there to click. They're there to learn. They're there to like take, like, how do I say this? They're there to not just be entertained. They're there to do something about what they're searching, they're clicking, they're learning. And that's the goal. You don't have to try and stop the scroll, right? I feel like that's something that a lot of people say on Instagram. A lot of Pinterest content is searched for. So they're like, how to grow a podcast. And then they'll find one of my pins, and then they'll find my episode, they'll listen to it, and then they'll be like, oh, I really like her. I'll go follow her podcast and listen to everything that she's ever done. That's the goal, right?
Okay. I love this so much. And I'm all about longevity. I mean, I have my clients do blog style show notes because we want to feed the algorithm, but it is not an overnight game either. And I was just chatting with them. Okay. I have to know, how long did it take you to sit down and create 4 weeks of Pinterest posts though?
That's a good question. So because I've been doing it for a while at this point, it kind of depends. Like, so on Mondays, on a normal week, I usually do a week's worth of pins on Monday. So, cause Monday is my big heavy, like I do all of my work on Mondays mostly cause my husband doesn't work on Mondays. And so I can sit down and do a week's worth of pins in like 45 minutes, which is, so like 7 pins. So like, but I have like all of my templates set up, I have all of my like I've done it for long enough now that it really isn't that big of a deal. But truly, if you are like, I need some help just getting started, getting the ball rolling, Canva has like templates that you can use. Or if you're like, I don't even want to do that, like come talk to me and I can help you make your first like month's worth of pins. Like one of the services that I offer it's called Pinterest VIP setup. And I like literally do everything for you, because that's kind of the scariest part for a lot of people is just setting it all up. After that, they're like, no, I can keep up with it. it's too scary to start. And I'm like, that's valid. That's why I created that. Cause it can be a little bit daunting, but once you're in it and you like, it's glorious. It's just so much less pressure, in my opinion, for me, for my personality, for the way that I like to market. It's just the best. It's just the best way to do it for me.
Oh, okay. I have so many questions because I started dabbling with Pinterest, I suppose maybe a month and a half ago or something. So that's why it's like all of these are coming to my mind. First of all, how long does it take to start to see traction with your pins?
Good question. Okay. So what I will say is the first month you're laying groundwork, you're not going to see very much.
Okay.
The first 2 to 3 months is when you're going to start to see it pick up. The first 6 months is when you're probably going to start to see things really start to work. And then at about a year, I feel like is when you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This works so well. So that's another reason why Pinterest and podcasters work really well together, because podcasters also know it's a long game, right? Like, and Pinterest is definitely a long game. So I feel like it's just one of those things. Like, truly, I started consistently doing pins. Like, I dabbled for a while, kind of like you were saying, and I finally was like, no, I'm going to consistently do. I started with just one pin a week. Like, it was nothing crazy. Last March, actually, and I just looked at all of my stats because it had been a year, and my podcast has grown 74% in the past year, and I've had more than 200 email subscribers added to my list in the past year. And Pinterest is my main form of marketing. So it's like, it works. You just have to be patient and you just have to be consistent. Now I'm up to like, I don't still just do one pin a week. Now I'm up to one pin a day. But truly, if you talk to Pinterest experts, most say that you should be doing like way more than that, like 10 pins a day. So even with just like my minimal still, my show is growing because of Pinterest. So that's, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So that was a question. I was like, what results have you seen? So your podcast grew by 74%. You've seen 200% or 200 subscribers, come into your email list from Pinterest, which is so cool. I wanted to know that because like I've taken Jenna Kutcher's Pinterest course. She reckons 15 posts a day. Andy, I was like, I think I was doing 6 or 7 posted like the last month and a half. And I was like,
That's
can't
insane.
keep up with this. It is so time consuming, even using AI, even having one of my best friends is a professional graphic designer and gave me beautiful templates. And it's still so time consuming. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do not do that many a day. Like that's not
okay
for me. Okay. Like in a perfect world where we don't have like a million other things going. Sure. But like for me, especially right now, cause like we talked about before we started, like we're both moms. We both have so much going on. Like I have 3 tiny children. I guess they're not tiny anymore, 8, 4, and 6, but like
still there's their heartbeats and their little heartbeats that you have to take care of.
Yeah. They are not self-sufficient by any stretch of the imagination. And so what I say is instead of doing, 15 pins a day, I just make sure that my one pin has all of the Pinterest SEO mixed in. It looks nice. It's like, I do everything I can for that one pin a day. Yeah. And it's been working for me. It's definitely not like overnight amazing virality by any stretch of the imagination, but it's working. And so what I'm doing right now works. And maybe if I ever have like a team, like if I ever like add a virtual assistant or something, maybe she can help with pins. But like right now, this is what I've got and this is what's working. And I have the results that show that what I'm doing works, even if it's not nearly as many as Pinterest experts say.
Okay, cool. So, if I have like, say I have 10 to 20 templates that I can cycle through, is Pinterest, but I'm changing the images, I'm changing the text. Is that okay? Can I do that? Or is Pinterest going to be like, no, this is not working for us?
Yes, I would say, especially as you're starting, we need to make the bar, like make it as easy as possible. Okay. So yes, I would say, especially like 20 different templates, that's plenty. As long as you're changing the text on there, you're changing the, like the title and the description and like the tag topics. If all of that is unique, and I feel like for me, usually when I change templates is more so I'm bored rather than like, it's not really working on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Like it's more so a me thing than a Pinterest thing.
Okay.
As long as you're switching things out. And I would say also don't have the same like picture every time. Like, yeah, as long as you're switching stuff out. And truly one thing that Pinterest likes is if it's not always the same link. So like, so for me, whenever I have a new episode come out, like today I had a new episode come out, I will have that same link for this week. So that's like 7 pins that have the same link, but then the next week it'll be a new one. And then I do a seasonal podcast. So I'm 3 months on, 3 months off. So when I'm not releasing new episodes, I'll just go back and recycle and go through previous episodes. So I'm technically using the same link again, but it's not just like a month's worth of the same link. It's usually like a couple of days with that link. And then I'll do another episode with a different link.
Wow. Maybe it's just my personality, but I am making this so complex. Okay. So interesting. And that was my question for you is like, what is the link? Are we driving them to Apple as a whole as our podcast? Are we driving them to Spotify as a whole? Are we driving them to a specific episode, to our blog show notes? Like, what's the most effective strategy?
Okay, so this is what I'll tell you. Like the gold standard, perfect, yes, please go there would be your own website because you claim your website on Pinterest. And so when Pinterest knows that you own it, they're like, oh, we're going to push this more because we know that you own this content. This is your website. But I will say, so that's like gold standard. Yes, do that one. But if you're like, I have this goal where I want to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, then by all means, send them to YouTube at least sometimes because like, why not? It's one of those things where it's like, you can make any link work. But yeah, the one that Pinterest will send the most to is definitely the website one.
Okay. That's good to know. I love that. Okay. So tell me this. Say somebody comes and does your VIP package, and you post for them. Do they have to keep posting forever? Or can you do like spurts of posting that will continue to work for you? Or is Pinterest like, if you stopped, we stopped? Like where the relationship is done.
Okay, good question. I will say Pinterest likes consistency. So if you want to, the best way to grow is to continually put new pins out there. But like I said, when I first started, I was doing 1 pin a week. Like it's not like it had to be 1 pin a day or whatever. It could be 1 pin a week. And that's my consistency. It was every week on Wednesday. Like that was how I did it for the longest time. So like, I feel like, yes, new pins is going to be best, but Pinterest is also flexible. So like if you have to step away, like for whatever reason, like you just had a new baby, you're like, this is just not the season for me to be doing this. Your pins will still circulate. The ones that you've got, they will still circulate because because Pinterest is a search engine first. So all of those SEO keywords that you put in there, people are still searching for that. And when they search for something that is whatever you're putting into your pins, they're still going to find them, even if it's not as new of a pin. Like truly, I just did another podcast interview last week about Pinterest, and she was like, I got on Pinterest. I haven't been on Pinterest in 2 years. I got on just to see how many, what do they call it? Like impressions. Yeah. That my pins are getting. And she was like, I still have 1,000 impressions this month. And I haven't put anything out in 2 years.
Okay.
I was like, so like people are still finding her stuff, just not quite to the level that maybe she's looking for. So yes, your stuff will still circulate. It might not go quite as far when you're not putting out new stuff, but it's still circulating.
Okay. I love that. I love me a platform that's going to circulate. Maybe that's why I love podcasting so much. Okay. So how are you tracking your results? Like, how are you tracking from Pinterest to podcast to subscriber or something like that?
Totally. Okay. So there's a couple things that I look at. So when I am just kind of like getting a feel for how things are going, I'll go to my Pinterest. There's stats on there that are honestly pretty good, which is why you always want a business account. Everyone who's listening to this, make sure you have a business account, not a personal account.
Yeah.
So you have your stats. And then I will look at like the top 10 pins usually that are doing the best impression wise or clicks. You can go into several different stats, but I'll go through and look at those. And then I'll say, okay, then I'll hop on over to my hosting platform and see how those episodes are doing. So like this pin is doing well, but are they clicking through and listening? And then I can determine, oh, okay, so this pin is making them excited enough to click, but not excited enough to listen. So I need to like rework it or however that goes. So that's like how I do it when it's like basic. When I really want to dive in, I will go to because I send almost always to my blog. So I'll go to my blog and be like, okay, now I'm going to dive into the stats here of like, okay, how many people visited the site, how many people clicked so I look at those same pins, but I go to my blog instead of my hosting platform, if that makes sense.
Yep, it totally does. And that was my next question was what metrics are most important to be paying attention to? Especially on the Pinterest platform. Yeah.
Yes. So Pinterest, it's honestly in some ways similar to like other social media as far as like impressions are fun, but definitely more of a vanity metric. What you want to be looking for is clicks or outbound clicks, because those are when they are leaving Pinterest and going to wherever you sent them. So your blog post, your YouTube, your Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever. And that's usually when they're going to actually click to listen to your show. So those are the best ones is clicks. So I don't think this is like nitty gritty for just a second, but like the main stats page on Pinterest, when you click on that, it will just have clicks at the top. But if you go down to like the pin portion where it like shows you the exact pins that are being clicked, you can dive down to, because you can click on the pin to make it bigger, and then you can click on the pin to leave the website. So there are two different pins. So outbound click is the one that you're looking for as far as when they actually go to wherever to listen to your episode.
Okay, outbound click. So say that you're seeing that people are clicking on it, but they're not actually going out of Pinterest and they're not getting, the transfer to your blog. What do you go in and do you change that pin, or do you just learn from it and what do you change if you do?
Okay, so usually I will just leave that pin and I will learn from it and move on. Because every pin, even if they're not, even if they're just engaging with it in another way, that tells Pinterest, hey, they like this type of content. They like you. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to, again, I don't really have time to like go back and be like changing pins. So it's one of those, okay, I'm learning from this and I'm moving on. One thing that I've tried more recently that like in the past month, so I don't have like hard numbers on if this is working better, but a lot of Pinterest experts that I follow talked about how you need something on your pins, something to try is to put like my episodes are really short for the most part, my solo episodes, because I don't talk very much. I'm like, I'm just going to say what I'm going to say and then we're going to be done. So like, I'll be like 5-minute podcast episode about whatever. So then they're like, oh, if I click this, I'll know what I need to know in 5 minutes. So things like that to be like, to help them to see not only this is a podcast episode, so when you click this, that's what you're going to find so that they don't feel bamboozled, but also, oh, I'm going to have all of the information she's going to give me in 5 minutes. I can do that. So things like that can be helpful. This isn't exactly a podcast one, like example, but the gal that I was listening to her podcast about Pinterest, she helps a lot of like food bloggers, and she said like quick and easy recipe or like under 20-minute recipe. So like things that help people feel like they're going to get results quickly are always a good thing to have on a pin.
And we love it because I'm thinking about podcast episodes. Literally, I have one that's like a 10-minute hack for guesting questions or something.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's one of my best performing ones. And I'm like, perfect. That would perform so well over there. So, okay.
Yes.
I love that. I love it so much. You said something that made me think of something I have thought when I'm creating them. And I'm like, do we want them to know it's a podcast episode? Is that going to deter them? Are they going to like that? Like what does it seem that Pinterest users like?
So this is like, my opinion, this is not like gospel in any way, sort of form for Pinterest. Yes. But for me, I'm like, I am a podcaster. So if I need them to know that it's a podcast so that I'm not like, they're not like mad at me, I guess, for like dragging for like pretending that I'm not until they get to the website. Right. Cause truly, again, in a perfect world, I would have blog posts that are beautiful and like have all these headings and like all of the information. I currently do not. Like, I have a blog post. It's decent, but it's not like amazing. And so I don't want them to think that when they click this, they're going to get this beautiful blog post. They're going to get a YouTube video. They're going to get a podcast audio, and they're going to get like some basic show notes with all of the links. Like, that's what it's not like they're getting nothing, but they're definitely not going to be like, oh, I can just skim this really quick. It's still going to be a podcast episode. So I don't want to trick them into thinking that this is something that it's not. And if they don't want a podcast episode, then I'm probably not for them anyway. So let's have them figure that out up front and be like, oh, no, I don't want to listen to a podcast episode, because I'm not really for them if they don't want to listen to a podcast episode.
Well, you need my show notes template, so I need to get you that, because then you can just use that to create your show notes very quick and easy, and it'll give you the pretty blog notes that
Love it.
We'll talk about that. Okay. So another question I'm thinking is, I know you can do, like, I've done some video, like, clips from my podcast. And I know, like, right now, those just they don't do that great on Instagram. Let's be honest, they don't. But, and I'm still too early in Pinterest to really see the difference. But what are Pinterest users really engaging with? Is it the static post, the PDF, kind of like just an image like that? Or are they liking those clips? Do they engage better than, say, Instagram?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you. It depends. And I hate that, but I'm going to give you some
Totally.
like different scenarios. So for me, I have tried video, and almost every time it has not gone very well for me. But one of my clients is like a personal development type of podcast, and her videos do significantly better. So like, she has a carousel post every single week. She has a different carousel post that goes on Instagram. So I was like, I'm just going to repurpose that for your Pinterest. And she was like, great. And so on Instagram, you have to like click through the carousel, right? On Pinterest, it does it for you. So it becomes a video of sorts, quote unquote. So those videos do really well. I have noticed that her like talking to the camera videos, when it's just her, they do pretty well. But as soon as you split that screen and it's two different people, they do not do as well. So that's been my experience. So static pins have been working the best for me. Personally, like on my Pinterest for my podcast. But I have seen video work for other people. I'm still trying to crack the code on video for my own podcast.
No, it's great. We love case studies around here. So I'm here for it. Okay. So let's say somebody wanted to get started with Pinterest. So a podcaster is listening and they're like, I've been interested, but I don't know if it's right for me. I feel like I'm splitting so much time elsewhere, but I really don't want to be on social media. Like, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Truly, I would say, obviously try Pinterest, but I would say try Pinterest and start with a business account. Do not even try with a personal account, and do a minimal, do one pin per week. Like, truly, when I first started doing Pinterest consistently with my one pin a week, it was probably a couple of months after I'd been doing it once a week. And I went and looked at my stats like on a whim, and one of my pins had like 2,000 views. And I was like,
oh, wow.
Okay, apparently this is working. And then I upped it to like 2 pins a week. Like, look at me go. So I feel like it's one of those things that you just have to try it, and you got to let it simmer. You got to let it like do its thing for a couple of months. This sounds bad, but don't go all in if you don't know if it's going to work for your podcast. I can almost guarantee that it's going to work for your podcast, but it might not work for your personality. Like, there are a bunch of different things in there. Truly, I have a freebie that's called "Is Pinterest Right for Your Podcast?" that I can give to you, and we can put the link in the show notes. But that will also help you determine if your podcast is going to be a good fit, because you don't want to waste your time on something that's not working for you. And if it's not going to help you, then don't do it. Like, don't waste your time.
Okay. So I'm going to definitely link up that freebie. Everybody should go grab it. But are there podcasts that Pinterest works really good for, or podcasters that it seems to work really good for versus some that it maybe doesn't?
Totally. Okay. So, let me give you a couple of examples. So evergreen podcasts, like I was talking about earlier, are
Mm-hmm.
really good for, Pinterest. So like a good example of that is like a how-to podcast. Like one of my favorite podcasts as a mom is called The Family Lab. And she just talks about different experiments you can try in your house to make your life easier. Yeah. As a mom or
Okay.
as a parent more so. It's not just for moms. But I also listen every day to a news podcast that is like 10 minutes of that day's news. That podcast would not do well on Pinterest because who
Mhm.
cares about what happened in the news 6 months ago? Like no one. So as and then another one is like one that like could work but probably isn't perfect for Pinterest. I'm just giving you all of my favorite podcasts.
So good.
It's called The Popcast with Knox and Jamie. It's pop culture.
Okay.
It might work for Pinterest because it's not completely evergreen, but it's not totally like timely. Like they do random episodes about like movies from 20 years ago or whatever. So like some
Okay.
of it would work, but that one probably isn't the best fit because it's not as evergreen. So you just kind of have to get a feel for, yeah, kind of the best way is someone going to click a pin 6 months from now for an episode that I put out a year ago or whatever and still have like still get a lot out of it. If they're not, then Pinterest might not be the best for you.
Okay. That's so good. What am I not asking you about Pinterest that we need to know?
Well, okay. Actually, one more thing about if your podcast is a good fit for Pinterest is most Pinterest users are women. So if your podcast is mainly for women, about 70% of the women in the US use Pinterest, while
Mhm.
only about 30% of the women, 30% of men use Pinterest in the US. And the numbers are growing, outside of the US, but the US is the main hub, I guess, of Pinterest. Like the most users are in Pinterest are in the US right now. So if you have a podcast that's mostly for women, or you're trying to get more women interested in your podcast, then Pinterest could be a good fit. Like truly last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I was on Threads talking about Pinterest because that is my favorite place to talk about Pinterest at the moment. And one guy was like, would Pinterest work for my podcast? I talk about hiking. And I was like, well, so I did like 2 minutes worth of Pinterest research for him and looked up like hiking because there's a bunch of different things that I do to like see if it's a good fit.
Yeah.
And I said, actually, Pinterest trends shows that there are so many people searching for
Wow.
hiking on
Uh-huh.
Pinterest. So I said, but because he was a guy, I was like, if you're talking to women about hiking, then yes, you should probably
Mhm.
look at Pinterest. If you're trying to like get more women to listen to your podcast, that might be a good fit. But if that's not your listener, then no, don't try Pinterest. So it's one of those things that Pinterest could, like the likelihood of Pinterest working for you is probably pretty high, but there are some things
Mhm.
that could make it not as good of a fit for you.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. So like my husband and I mountain bike, and we've found like mountain biking experiences, like plan trips from Pinterest. And my girlfriend, same thing. She's like, I just go on Pinterest and, try and find like a hike or travel thing.
Oh, totally.
Okay. So you brought up Pinterest trends, and I wanted to ask you about that because when I go to Pinterest trends, it makes me feel like I'm SOL for Pinterest as a podcaster because nothing trends for podcast. Like the words don't trend, nothing. I'm like, oh my gosh. So how do you use it? Is it worth it? How
Okay.
do we use it?
So this is what I'll say.
And actually, can you maybe explain what Pinterest trends is to the listeners just in case they don't know?
Yes, that's a great place to start. So Pinterest trends, is what it pretty much does is it has a group of words that it checks to see how many people are searching for these terms on Pinterest. It's not every single word that people search for. They don't check them all, which would be nice, but I don't think that that's possible. So they have to be a little bit choosy. And then you can type in words. So like my favorite, I love plants. We have a lot of plants at our house. So my favorite
Yeah.
example is like, I just type in Monstera and to see. So if you look at the Monstera trend, it usually goes up in the spring and then it kind of goes down and levels out in the summer. And then it dips down in the winter and then it goes up in the spring again. And that's So you can kind of see when people are searching for the word Monstera the most. Okay. So then if you want to be like, okay, are people searching for Monstera more or plants more? You can type in plants and it'll show both of those graphs to see what is searched more. And usually it's Monstera actually more than plants, which is interesting, but here we are. So that's kind of how I use trends. That's also how that's how I'll look for SEO keywords also for my clients is if Pinterest is tracking it, that means there are a lot of people looking that are typing that in. So that's another way that I'll do that. But like you said, not very many podcast keywords are on Pinterest trends. So the other place I look is just like the search bar in Pinterest. So I'll just type in, I'll do my own SEO research, just writing down a bunch of words and from other researches that I've done personally.
Totally.
And I'll type it in and be like, okay, how to grow a podcast. And I'll put that in. And then there will be a drop down of all of the different versions of that people will ask. So for me, one thing that was interesting is on Google, a lot of people will search how to grow a podcast audience. While on Pinterest, that is less common. Asking podcast audience, it's usually just how to grow a podcast or podcast marketing. So just little tweaks like that from Google SEO to Pinterest SEO has really, it's been interesting. And it also has helped my Pinterest grow and help more people find me that way.
Okay, what's really important about what you just said is there's a smaller audience on Pinterest, which is okay when we're trying to be more specific. And if it's mostly women, I'm thinking I work with female podcasters. And so I'm thinking of the women in my mastermind. I'm like, all of them, Pinterest would work so great. And it's going to almost filter out the noise of the searches that maybe aren't serving us. But that is so cool. And I'm honestly, you have me a little bit excited again. I kind of was going to give up. I'm I can't do 6 to 7. There's no way I'm going to be able to do 15 posts today. So maybe I'll just chunk it down a little. I'll take it back. Okay. Maybe my perfectionist self doesn't need to do that, but this makes me really excited. So, okay, Andi, you have a really cool, offer, which I'm considering doing as well, but your Pinterest VIP offer, can you explain it? But then what I really want to know is what is the maintenance on the back end for somebody after you get them up and get them going?
Okay. So first of all, the offer, is pretty much, I do a quick, chat with you for roughly 30 minutes so I can get all of the information about you, about your show, about your audience, as well as nuts and bolts. Do you have a website? Do I need to make sure that we need to claim your website? How many, and also I'll be how many, if you don't want to, so half of my clients are I want to make my own pins eventually, but I don't want to do it at the beginning because that sounds overwhelming. So I do part of the VIP thing is I set up your profile. I make your Pinterest banner. I make your Pinterest board covers. I do your about me section. I fill out all of that for you. And then I make your first 30 days worth of pins. That's that package. And then some people want to take it from there. And if they want to take it from there and they're I can't do a pin a day because that's insane, which it was for me at the beginning. So they'll be I'm going to do 3 pins a week. So I will do 3 pins a week for them so that the consistency stays the same, so that it doesn't freak out. Pinterest doesn't say, why are you changing? So that's one thing that we also iron out in that first chat is how many pins do you want me to do? How many pins are you planning on doing, so that we can stay on the same page and I can send you off on the best leg possible. And so that's part of it. So half of my clients are actually, no, I really want to do it, but I don't want to do the beginning. So after we finish our VIP 30 days worth of pins, I just give them a cute little farewell packet explaining how to do everything and send them on their merry way. And then I also have 2 different continuing packages, I guess, where one of them is 1 pin a day. And then the package is for 3 months. And then the other one is 2 pins a day. I'll do 2 pins a day for you for 3 months. So nothing crazy. I'm still not up to 15 even for clients because that's a lot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought of 2 more questions that I want to know. One, how important are the keywords? There's a section when you're scheduling, okay, if you schedule in Pinterest directly, and maybe it's different in Tailwind or whatever, and I'd love to know what you use, but how important is it to be like doing keywords? Is it, I think that's what I'm thinking, right?
Like tag topics. Is that what you mean?
Correction. What I meant is there's a section that says tagged topics.
Yes.
Do you know what that would know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. How important is it to fill that out? Because again, for me, I'm like,
yeah, it's hard. It's
my
hard.
words, it's hard.
I know. Yes. Girl, I hear you. And I can tell you all the tag topics I use so that you can use them too. Because I had to try really hard to figure out how to do that. But I will say, okay, so tag topics for you listeners that don't know what we're talking about. It's at the bottom when you're scheduling out your pin on Pinterest. You can't do this on Tailwind. There's a section that's called tag topics, and it's just like another place to put SEO keywords, pretty much. They call it tag topics, but it's pretty much just SEO keywords. It's you telling Pinterest, hey, show my pin around other pins that have these types of words, pretty much. So like for me, I put like marketing, I put marketing tools, I put small business marketing, like things like that. Or like for my, I guess I already talked about her, my personal development podcast client, I'll do setting goals, I'll do personal development, I'll do motivation, like things like that. So it's just another tool to help Pinterest know where to put your pins. And to answer your other question, I actually just use Pinterest. I just schedule right in Pinterest. Tailwind is cool. It has a lot of cool like things, but it's just like one more thing to pay for, and I don't want to pay for it right now. And I don't want to make my clients pay for it either. And so, because Tailwind, there's a free version, and I think you get like, you can schedule like 5 pins, I think. Well, if you schedule within Pinterest, you can schedule out almost a month in advance.
Yeah. So
that's enough for me at the moment. And so that's just what I've been doing, and it's been working great. And like I said, with Tailwind, you cannot do tagged topics. And I don't think you can, if you have like a product that you're selling, you can tag that product on Pinterest, but I don't think you can on Tailwind. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think you can. So there's some differences.
Man. That last little bit, that is so cool. I didn't even know what tag topics were. So that's really helpful. All right. How do you like to use AI to support you in your creation?
So truly, I have a like a custom AI bot that helps me come up with like a general list of SEO keywords for a podcast. And then I will take those, and so like that's one thing that I do because I want as many options as possible, right? And then I'll take all of those and individually put them into Pinterest trends and put them into the search bar. And then come up and then see what comes up there, and then use those ones, because it doesn't matter what an AI bot tells you is good. You want to know what people are actually searching in Pinterest. And so that's one thing that I do. And then there are days when my brain just can't think of pin ideas or things, or like ways to use the SEO keywords that I already have in pin like copy. So I will be like, I need 5 pins that help with this topic. These are my SEO keywords. And to be completely honest, I rarely use like a pin idea or pin copy straight from a chatbot, like, because most of the time they're not great, but they will spark enough of an idea to be like, oh, okay, that isn't great, but if I tweak this and this, then it will be good. And then it just almost gets the juices flowing, just helps me to like figure out what to say or how to say it in a way that works.
Yeah, it's just like a podcast episode title. I'm like, rarely do I just like take what one says and then run with it.
Yeah,
like we just talked about that today. Okay, I love this. Andi, where can people go to find out about you, how to work with you, all the things?
So the best way is my podcast. It's called Friendly Podcast Guide. It's on all of the major podcast apps. I literally just deleted Instagram today because I'm so sick of it. So I'm no longer on it. Well, I guess technically it's still there. You could find me there, but I'm not active there. So my favorite place to be is Threads. The social media that I am still part of is Threads. I love that place. It's just chill, and it just feels more genuine. So I hang out on Threads as Friendly Podcast Guide as well. So those are the 2 places to find me.
So good. And we'll link up your website so everybody can go check out there as well. This was such a great conversation. Thank you so much, Andi. I learned so much and you got me excited about Pinterest again. So
I'm so glad. Yeah. Pinterest is one of those things that it is truly one of my other favorite parts about doing VIP offers for people is they don't have to see the first months of stats, right? It's not even something they're thinking about or looking at because that first month is a little bit hard because like you're just starting a tiny little snowball that will get bigger. You just have to be patient and consistent and you just got to keep going even when it feels like it's not doing much.
I love it. That's what we need to leave everybody with. And it's kind of like podcasting. It's like the long game, but it works. And it's so, so special how it works. So, well, thank you for being here, Andi. It was such a great joy to speak with you.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.